I know, it's me again, Mobius Y. You're sick of me already, just this in the back of your head. God, this guy just won't go away. I'm kidding. How's it going, everybody? Whew, what an interesting weekend this has been. Went a little haywire with a couple uploads. I missed. I didn't upload anything on Thursday and Friday, so I decided I would put a couple extras up on the weekend here, and I have a couple saved for later in the week as well. But oh man, this weekend, it was quite painful. I had extreme difficulty getting any gameplay for a number of reasons. I played a lot of horrible games, but even worse is I just had to deal with there was a lot of griefers and trolls out this weekend, and I don't understand why. So actually, I'm going to talk about that for a little bit here. The griefers and the trolls in this game, and I'm not just talking about those that failed platoon out. And for those of you that don't know what a failed platoon is, that's when you intentionally bring, say, a tier 2 tank into a tier 7 game or something along those lines. And I've seen worse. I saw one instance where one guy in an IS-7 brought in 2 Lloyd gun carriages and 2 T1 Cunninghams, so we were basically down 4 tanks from the get-go because we had 2 tier 1s and 2 tier 2s in a tier 10 game. It was yeah, it was an interesting game, to say the least. But unfortunately, griefers and trolls in this game, they're out there, and there's really nothing we can do about it for the time being. It's really unfortunate. You know, the best thing that I do is I just remember their name, I mute them, and I put them on my avoided player list. If I'm annoyed enough with them where they were trolling a teammate badly enough, or they were trolling a platoon mate badly enough, I'll file a complaint. That's really the best you can do in those situations, though. There's not much else beyond that can be done about them. Now, for those who are still a little unsure as to what I mean by trolls and griefers, well, it's more than just the failed platooners. It's the people who will try and pull in front of you, block you, run into you, push you into water, bump you when you're trying to line up shots, block your shots, you name it. Just anything to just get on your nerves at the wrong moment, at the wrong time, you know? Or even better, you know, try to block certain access ways on the map. Ironically enough, I've seen it before where a whole platoon of E-75s blocked the center and the southern bridge on Erlenberg. So they completely blocked off our team from getting from one side of the map to the other because the other team had control of the north bridge on Erlenberg. And it was a bit of a nightmare, but as annoying as it was, you know, like I said, all you can do, mute, avoid player, move on to the next game. Sadly, that's all that can be done. Because in the grand scheme of things, if that is how somebody really gathers enjoyment out of this game, is trying to ruin it for somebody else, it's not something they're going to do for very long, because they're going to take hits in silver, and they're going to gain very little experience per game doing so. So it'll take, if it's something that they continually do, it'll take them forever to not just get to the next tank, but to upgrade the packages on their current tank. Even so, and even more so is eventually people will just ignore them, you know. So on and so forth. It's what can I say? People get bored of doing the same thing when there's no results happening. So long as those of us who are actually trying to play, we don't let it bother us, and we just ignore them, eventually it will stop. Chances are they'll go off and they'll play something else, you know. Because if people aren't on the mic screaming at somebody for being a troll, then, you know, there's not really much enjoyment out of it. Because the whole point to try and get a rise out of somebody, if nobody's really getting mad about it, then, you know, what's the point, right? That's all that can be done about it. Sadly, Wargaming has made no inklings as to what, if they're going to do anything about it. or if they're going to implement some kind of system to deal with these kinds of players. So these days, it's just up in the air. We're not sure what's going to go on. Those of us on the forums have been ranting about it for quite some time, you know, and it's been around, from what I hear, it's been around since the beta a little bit, but you know, there's just not much you can do. You just gotta, unfortunately, you just have to put up with it for the time being, and you know, jump into the next game, right? Unless it's about the only time that I will get fed up with World of Tanks and actually turn it off is when I have a string of bad games or a string of just really terrible things happen in one short instance, like in a time span of 30 minutes to an hour. Then I'll just be like, screw this, I'm doing something else. Now, those moments are a lot fewer and far between than they were for other previous games that I used to play, because I try not to let stuff bug me, because that derives from the enjoyment of this game. The main reason I play is to have fun, number one. Number two, I play to have good games and improve upon myself is the other thing. It's a little it's a little weird to explain. It's part of the reason why I flash a sorry at the end of every game. It's a self-reminder that I can always do better, you know? I can always help the team more. I can always get better. I can always be a better asset to the team, but yeah, it's a little difficult to explain. It's just something that I've always felt about myself for a long time in gaming, and it's something I definitely employ in paintball. There's always something I can improve on in paintball, definitely. So I approach games that I'm not going to say take seriously. I approach games that I delve into in the same manner. Online player versus player games, not so much single player games. The single player games I just dick around and do whatever I want. You should see what I've been up to in Far Cry 4 lately. It's amusing. But that being said, you know, the trolls and the griefers are out there. I pray that the numbers of these people just get drastically reduced. The reason why it's so upsetting to try and, you know, do that, bump into people, block people from maneuvering, stop them, blocking them from being able to retreat behind cover, so they essentially get killed, you know, bumping into them when they're lining up shots, so on and so forth. It's frustrating because it literally just does ruin the game, not just for that player, but for the team as a whole. If taking out, you're not essentially taking out one tank on your team from being effective. It's a minimum of two, and you'll often see whole platoons of people doing it. I've seen platoons of 4 light tanks bumping into my buddies, trying to stop them, and just, you know, being useless. They were basically taking 5 friendly tanks out of the game, is what was going on, because there was 4 of them doing it, and they were preventing a 5th tank my platoon mate from even maneuvering. So that's basically why it can be so frustrating for some people, is it essentially ruins the game for at least one other person, but it's a major detriment to the team on a whole. And that's why so many people get frustrated about it, and why a lot of people have been demanding that there be some kind of implementation of something to deal with these kind of people. So unfortunately, you know, boys will be boys. I'd be lying if I said I didn't get a little joy whenever somebody sent me some kind of hate mail or something like that. It's always funny, but I'm not in it to, you know, I'm not in it to ruin other people's games. If somebody gets frustrated at me for being outplayed, that's one thing. If somebody gets frustrated at me because I am being a tool, basically, that's something else, and that would be something that actually bothers me. So that's why I try not to do it, and I just try to, you know, I try to give it my all in every game I can, and just pay attention to what's going on, you know, what have you. So anyways, I'm going to stop babbling now. So there'll be more videos to come in this week. I have lots of recording to do over these first few nights. In the meantime, I'll try to get some M46 patent gameplay. It's been extremely rough so far. Emphasis on extremely rough. I don't know what's wrong with me. I guess I just suck without higher velocity standard APCR for standard ammunition. I'm sure it's a number of things. I'll give it some time. I'll probably have some decent M46 patent gameplay. I have a Chaffee gameplay vid coming up. That'll be tomorrow, and at least one other tier 10 medium tank. I believe the 4202 I have ready to go. So I'll try to record a couple other things going, get a couple other things on the go here. I'm thinking by the end of this week I will start my grind. I will go up the T110 E5 line. It's past time that I start another grind on another tank. If I remember right, I have the Jumbo Sherman researched already, so I will start with that, get some gameplay recorded in the Jumbo Sherman, and then I'll move up to the T29 from there and get some gameplay video of the whole line. So, as always, guys, you're awesome. Thanks very much for watching, and yeah, hope this weekend was fun for everybody. We'll see you all next time, and as always, tank on, happy tanking.